The last drink. I wasn't supposed to stay out late that night. It was just supposed to be one drink, a quick stop at my usual bar to unwind after a long day. I'd been coming here for years. The bartender, Mike, always had my drink ready before I even sat down. The regulars were a familiar blur of faces, lost in their own conversations. It was the kind of place where time didn't matter. I took a seat at the bar, feeling the smooth, worn wood beneath my fingertips. "The usual?" Mike asked, already reaching for the bottle. I nodded, loosening my tie. "Yeah, just one tonight." He chuckled as he poured my whiskey. "That's what you always say." I smirked, taking a slow sip. The burn was familiar, comforting. The bar hummed with low conversations, the crackling jukebox playing some forgotten classic. It was normal until it wasn't. Somewhere between my first and second drink, something changed. The sounds blurred, voices slurring together, the music turning into a dull hum. My vision swam for just a second, like I had been drinking for hours instead of minutes. The air thickened, heavy like a summer storm about to break. Then Mike slid another drink toward me. "This one's on the house," he said, his voice sounding distant. I frowned. I didn't order another, but my hand was already reaching for the glass. My fingers wrapped around it, the condensation cool against my skin. I brought it to my lips, and everything went black. When I woke up, the first thing I noticed was the silence. No music, no voices, no clinking glasses, just stillness. I sat up slowly, my head pounding. The bar looked the same at first glance. Same counter, same stools, same neon sign above the bottles. But something was wrong. The air was stale, thick with dust. The neon sign, which should have glowed warm and red, flickered weakly, casting broken shadows on the walls. The stools were covered in a thin layer of dust, as if no one had sat on them in years. And the worst part? I was alone. "Mike!" I called out. My voice echoed, swallowed by the emptiness. No answer. I pulled out my phone. No signal. Not even Wi-Fi. Just a dead, useless screen. Then I turned toward the front door, and my stomach dropped. Through the glass panels, there was nothing outside. No streetlights, no city, no sky. Just a vast, endless black void stretching beyond the door. I stood up, my chair scraping loudly against the floor. My breath came fast, my pulse hammering against my ribs. I wasn't dreaming. Something wasn't right. I took a slow step toward the door. My fingers hesitated over the handle. I had the overwhelming feeling that I shouldn't open it. Then, just as my fingers brushed the knob, the lights went out. I froze. The silence deepened, pressing against me like a physical weight. Then, a sound, a soft, deliberate knock on the door. I stepped back. My throat went dry. Another knock, louder this time. Then a voice, not a stranger's, mine. "Come on, man. Just one more drink." I stumbled back so fast I nearly tripped over a stool. The voice wasn't coming from inside the bar. It was coming from the other side of the door. "You're not done yet." The whispers slithered through the dark, curling around me like invisible tendrils. Then something pressed against the glass. A handprint. But it wasn't human. The fingers were too long, the palm distorted, stretching across the door like melting wax. Panic surged through me. I ran. I bolted toward the back of the bar, past the booths and empty tables. There had to be another way out. A back door, a window, something. But when I reached the hallway leading to the bathrooms, it wasn't there. The hallway was gone. In its place was a mirror, a massive floor-to-ceiling mirror where the hallway should have been. And in the reflection, I saw myself, sitting at the bar, smiling, lifting my glass. The mirror wasn't showing me now. It was showing me before the last drink, before the darkness, before everything changed. I stared, my breath coming in short gasps. Then, My reflection turned its head and looked at me, and I realized something that made my blood run cold. The me in the mirror wasn't trapped. I was. The reflection lifted his glass in a mock toast, smirking. Then behind him, the bar lights flickered back on. The music returned. The regulars reappeared, laughing, drinking, normal. Except I wasn't there. I was outside, trapped in the empty, lifeless version of the bar. I banged on the mirror. "Let me out!" My reflection just smiled. Then he turned back to his drink, laughing at something Mike said. Living my life. And I was left in the silence, alone, forever. I don't know how long I stood there, staring at my stolen life. Minutes? Hours? Time didn't feel real anymore. Then, a flicker. A crack appeared in the mirror. I didn't hesitate. I punched through the glass, shards slicing my skin, but I didn't care. I pushed through the jagged opening. And suddenly, I was back. The warmth of the bar, the hum of conversation, the weight of the glass in my hand. Mike raised an eyebrow. "You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." I nearly collapsed into my seat, my breath ragged. The mirror was gone. The dark version of the bar was gone. I didn't question it. I didn't try to understand it. I just grabbed my coat and stood up. "Where you going?" Mike asked. I threw a crumpled bill on the counter. "Home," Mike smirked. "Not even one more drink?" I swallowed hard, shaking my head. "Not tonight." Not ever. The man at the end of the bar. It had been a long day. I just wanted to unwind, have a drink, and enjoy my own company for a while. The bar was dimly lit, warm and comfortably busy. Not too loud, not too crowded. Just right. I found a seat near the middle of the counter, ordered a gin and tonic, and let the steady hum of conversation around me fade into the background. That's when I noticed him. At the far end of the bar, sitting alone, was a man in a dark coat. He wasn't drinking, wasn't talking, just watching me. At first I thought I was imagining it. Maybe he was looking past me, or maybe I was just overly aware of my surroundings. But every time I glanced over, his eyes were still on me. His face was hard to make out in the low light, but something about him felt off. He wasn't like the usual barflies who lurked, waiting for an opportunity to strike up a conversation. He just sat there, silent, still, waiting. I turned my attention back to my drink, trying to ignore the crawling sensation on the back of my neck. But it didn't stop. A few minutes passed. I glanced over again. He hadn't moved. A chill crept through me. Why was he just sitting there? I exhaled, shaking it off. Maybe he was just a weirdo. Maybe I was overreacting. Either way, I didn't want to let it ruin my night. I waved at the bartender, a guy named Ray, who had been working here for years. "Hey, do you know the guy at the end of the bar? The one in the coat?" Ray's brows furrowed. He glanced where I was pointing, then back at me. "What guy?" My stomach twisted. I gestured again, my voice dropping. "The guy at the end, sitting right there. He's been watching me all night." Ray stared at me for a long second, his face unreadable. Then he gave a slow shake of his head. "No one's been sitting there all night." I felt my skin go cold. I turned back to look, and the seat was empty. No coat, no drink, nothing. But something was wrong. My glass, the half-full gin and tonic I had been sipping, it was gone. In its place, an empty glass sat on the counter. My breath caught in my throat. I hadn't finished it. A deep unease settled in my gut. I had just looked away for a second. There was no way someone could have taken it without me noticing. I stared at the glass, feeling my pulse in my ears. Had I imagined the whole thing? Ray must have seen the look on my face because his voice softened. "You okay?" I forced a smile, swallowing the lump in my throat. Yeah, I'm fine." But I wasn't. I grabbed my purse, leaving a few bills on the counter before hurrying toward the door. As I pushed it open, the cold night air hit me like a slap. And then, a whisper just behind me. "See you tomorrow." I spun around. The bar door swung shut, but there was no one there. The Vanishing Bartender. We had been bar hopping all night when we stumbled upon it. The Velvet Vine. It wasn't on any of the maps we checked, but the neon sign glowed invitingly, and the faint sound of laughter and clinking glasses spilled into the street. It looked like the perfect place for one last drink. Inside, the bar was strangely elegant. All dark wood, deep red lighting, and chandeliers that flickered like candlelight. The place was packed, yet it had an almost dreamlike quality, like stepping into another time. The bartender was already waiting for us at the counter, smiling like he had been expecting us. "What can I get you?" he asked, his voice smooth, almost rehearsed. We ordered our drinks, laughing and settling into our seats. The bartender, Leon, according to his name tag, moved fluidly, pouring drinks like an artist. There was something unsettlingly perfect about him. His smile never wavered, and his movements were so smooth they felt unnatural. At some point, I looked away to check my phone. When I looked back, he was gone. I frowned, scanning the bar. Where'd he go? The others looked around, confused. Leon had been standing there just seconds ago, but now there was no trace of him. "Maybe he went to the back," someone suggested. But the thing was, there was no back. No doors behind the bar, no entrance to a kitchen or storage room, just a solid wooden wall. A weird feeling crept up my spine. I waved down one of the other patrons, a woman in a sleek black dress sitting beside me. "Hey, did you see where the bartender went?" She didn't react, didn't even look at me. I tried again, louder. "Excuse me?" Nothing. She kept drinking, kept chatting with the people around her, as if I wasn't even there. I turned to the rest of the group. "Guys, something's wrong." They had already noticed. We called out to other patrons, waved, even tapped one guy on the shoulder. No one reacted. It was like we were ghosts. Or worse, they were. Then, the lights flickered. For a split second, the entire room distorted like a warped VHS tape. The music stuttered, the chandelier shook, and when the lights returned, half the patrons were gone. The woman in the black dress, the group at the corner table, vanished. Their drinks remained untouched, condensation still dripping down the glasses. Panic set in. "We need to leave," I said, my voice tight. We rushed to the door, locked. Every exit, locked. Then a voice, smooth and familiar, spoke from behind us. "Leaving so soon?" We spun around. Leon was back, standing behind the bar like he had never left. Same smile, same posture, same unreadable eyes. One of my friends slammed his fist on the counter. "What the hell is going on?" Leon's smile widened, too wide. "You came for a drink, didn't you?" I felt my breath catch. The mirror behind the bar, our reflections weren't there. Leon gestured toward our untouched glasses. "You should finish. It's rude to leave a drink unfinished." I looked at the glass in front of me, the whiskey I had ordered. The amber liquid swirled, almost hypnotic. I didn't remember touching it. My gut screamed at me. "Don't drink it," I whispered. Leon tilted his head, amused. "It's already yours." The lights flickered again. We didn't wait. We grabbed the nearest bar stool and smashed the front window. The glass shattered, but the world outside was wrong. The street wasn't there anymore, just blackness. Then Leon sighed. That wasn't very polite. The entire room warped, the walls stretched, the chandeliers swung wildly, and the air became thick, too thick to breathe. I grabbed my friend's arm. "Run!" We pushed through the darkness, through the shattered window, through whatever lay beyond. My lungs burned. My mind screamed. Then, light. We stumbled into the street. The cool night air hit me like a punch. I gasped, looking around. We were standing in front of an empty lot. No bar, no neon sign, just an abandoned building, boarded up, long forgotten. We never found the Velvet Vine again. We checked every map, every record. It didn't exist. But sometimes, late at night, when I walk past that empty lot, I still hear glasses clinking. And if I listen closely, I can hear Leon's voice, smooth and inviting, whispering from the shadows. Leaving so soon?